It's deep in the bayous of Louisiana, where Spanish moss drapes like old ghosts, and the cicadas sound out warning. They say if you listen, really listen, you might catch something else, a heavy, wet footfall, or a distant guttural growl that doesn't belong to any gator or owl. These are the places where the legend of the Rougarou lives. The Rougarou, sometimes Lougarou, depending on the tongue, has haunted these waters for generations. The Cajuns say it looks, at first, like any other person. Male or female, it doesn't matter. It could be your neighbor, or that silent angler down by the delta. All ordinary enough in daylight. But come nightfall, when the fog rolls off the swamps and the moon hangs high, the story goes that the Rougarou changes. Fur, fangs, and hungry yellow eyes, half wolf, half human, all hunger. It prowls the shadows, moving through the cypress as if the trees bend aside for it. Some folks say if you cross its path, you'll never be the same. Others say you'll simply vanish, swallowed up by the swamp, your screams muffled under layers of muck and night. But, as is so often the case with legends, there's a reason behind the fear. This isn't just a story of sharp teeth and scary faces, it's a warning and perhaps a guilt trip rolled into one. For the original Rougarou legend wasn't simply about a monster in the dark. No, for the old Cajuns, the Rougarou was as much moral enforcement as it was boogeyman. According to the tale, you could become a Rougarou if you broke certain rules. Skipping out on Lent, for example, could doom you. Too many Sundays away from church? Watch your back. The Rougarou watched too, and it was just as happy to punish the faithless as it was the sinful. The lesson. In these remote, wild places, morality needed teeth. The curse, though, was complicated. If you got attacked and survived, say, a scratch across your arm, or just a brush from its claws, the Rougarou curse could pass to you. Suddenly, it's not just some stranger in the swamp you need to worry about. It could be your own sister, or your favorite uncle, or the person fixing your roof. And with every new victim, the fear crept a little closer to home. Generation after generation added to this myth. The Acadians brought their own wolf tales when they fled to Louisiana, mixing with French folklore about the Lougarou. Combine that with the wildness of the bayou, and you have the perfect storm for a story built to last. And it did last in whispered warnings around campfires and the private terrors behind shuttered church windows in the eyes of strangers at dusk. By the late 20th century, the Rougarou had become something of a local celebrity. Rougarou Festival every October. Rougarou Cologne even. He's on murals and t-shirts, the face of a community that knows, deep down, the wilderness isn't as far away as you'd like to think. Some people laugh it off, just a southern Bigfoot, they'll say, but others, even in these modern times, don't go wandering once the sun falls. Not if they can help it. See, the thing about the Rougarou legend is that it doesn't end with a final sighting or a bold vanquishing. There's no silver bullet moment. Maybe someone swears up and down they heard barking on two legs, or they found paw prints sprawling deeper than any dog. And then there are those mysterious disappearances, someone gone missing, lost in the marsh with only a torn piece of shirt fluttering from a swamp willow. But the truth is, the Rougarou endures because the bayou itself is vast, tangled, and indifferent. In a landscape where you could step off dry ground and disappear forever, the prospect of a beast lurking in the reeds just fits. It gives a shape to fear, a name to the unknown. So the next time you're in Louisiana and the night settles like a lid over the marshes, remember what they say. Don't break your promises, don't turn your back on old warnings, and above all, stay on the path. Because out there, under the shivering Spanish moss with only moonlight for company, the Rougarou is always waiting, hungry as ever, for another believer or a fool.